Hello and welcome to the Orlando World Sunday Showdown round of 16. This week's episode is a Disney's Hollywood Studios exclusive as we head back to Batuu and Sunset Boulevard for a battle between Star Wars Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run and Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. As always, let's take a brief look at both of this week's attractions. Disney continues to raise the bar when developing new land expansions within its parks, and Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is no different. Batuu, as it's known, is home to one of the largest theme props in any park, with the unmistakable Millennium Falcon ship docked outside the ride. The ride opened with Galaxy's Edge on the 29th of August, 2019 at Hollywood Studios as part of the $1 billion land expansion. It's a dark motion simulator ride based on the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon, and it is a fun experience, with a highly detailed simulation system, which makes it incredibly immersive. The difference between Smugglers Run and other flight simulator rides is massive, as Smugglers Run, although following a relatively linear storyline, allows a much greater level of control to the riders, who control the simulator, each with roles to play in the journey, and depending on how well the team in the cockpit work together determines parts of how the story plays out. There are a few alternate segments, and depending on which role you play in the cockpit, which makes it a truly unique but similar experience on every different time you ride it. Twilight Zone Tower of Terror is the intimidating structure which stands high above the iconic Sunset Boulevard area of Hollywood Studios. It opened on the 22nd of July 1994 at a cost of over $140 million. It's an accelerated dark drop ride, which plummets riders over from the top of the 200-foot structure in a terrifying 130-foot drop, which has you dangling tantalizingly close to the edge of the building, then propelling the lift at random intervals, providing a thrill which is essentially different on every ride, meaning the element of suspense and surprise catches you off guard each time you ride. It's an attraction which uses a lot of Disney's traditional methods for creating rides, with the use of old technology and modern-day tech, merging forced perspective techniques and new screen-based technology, creating a more intense experience. Now let's head into this week's series of 5 rounds and see which attraction will take its place in the quarterfinals. Let's head to round 1. Star Wars Galaxy's Edge takes immersion details to the next level, taking the likes of Pandora at Animal Kingdom and Frontierland at Magic Kingdom, and creating an out-of-this-world environment with some incredible details littered throughout the land. The theming for Smugglers Run is based primarily on the Millennium Falcon, where the giant life-sized craft sits pride of place in the area known as Black Spire Outpost, at the entrance to Onaka Transport Solutions. You venture into the workshop with an array of machines and mechanical objects, with lots of props recognizable from the film franchise, which are all intricately detailed, before you meet Hondo Onaka, who tells you that you are required to fly the Falcon to steal cargo from the First Order TIE fighters. The level of detail involved in creating the ride is impressive. Even the cockpit itself is incredibly detailed, creating one of the best themed experiences in the Disney resort. The theme and storyline are amazing, and do a great job of transporting you into the world of Star Wars and allowing you to live out the dream of piloting the iconic spacecraft. Tower of Terror is one of the tallest structures at any theme park in Florida. At almost 200 feet tall, it sits rather intimidatingly over the rest of the park, and adds an element of intrigue to the otherwise laid-back Sunset Boulevard area. The ride is based on Rod Serling's The Twilight Zone TV series, and is a drop-shaft ride which terrifies rides with a faster-than-gravity drop, making it more intense than a natural free-fall. The story tells of hotel guests who have mysteriously vanished during a supernatural event while using the hotel elevator, and takes you through a few of the building's show floors, including the fifth dimension. It's themed well, with some forced perspective going into play, making some magic happen, making large-scale hotel floors come to life, with the use of technology which is used in only a few meters of space, adding to the impressive optical illusion, and adds to the immersive levels of the ride. So in round 1, Smugglers Run takes the first point, as it offers just a bit more immersive content compared to Tower of Terror. Let's move on to round 2. Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run has a decent capacity for a simulator attraction. It operates on a revolving turntable system, with several cockpit simulators operating on one of 4 turntables. Each Falcon cockpit seats 6 riders, where you are instructed to perform in one of 3 roles, seated in 3 rows of 2, as either a pilot, gunner or engineer, with 2 of each in each vehicle, for a total of 6 riders per cockpit. The average airlift capacity is 1,800 riders per hour, which is reasonable for a small simulation attraction, but as the franchise is so popular, it needed to accommodate as many guests as possible, which was the reason behind the revolving platforms, to allow more vehicles to operate at one time. Tower of Terror is a much more complex ride system than you would imagine. It uses a custom-built self-propelled pulley system, as well as a ride system which allows the ride to lock into the shaft and to travel through various floor levels. There are 4 shafts located at the back of the building, which split into 2 throughout the ride, with 2 combining for the 5th dimension segment. The 8 ride vehicles accommodate 21 riders in 3 rows, with 7 in each row. The attraction has a very high capacity compared to other drop rides, like Dr. Doom's Fearful at Universal's Islands of Adventure, which has a very low capacity compared to the 1,700 riders per hour which can be accommodated on Tower of Terror. So in round 2, just barely, the Star Wars attraction claims the second point as it takes a 2-point lead going into the 3rd round. Star Wars Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run is a fairly short simulation attraction. It does however have a brief pre-show with the highly impressive Hondo Ohnaka animatronic, which is essentially a pre-ride briefing, giving you a short backstory and a few instructions in relation to the ride itself. Overall, the entire experience clocks in around 10 minutes taking in the pre-ride, and also if you include the marveling of the queue segments too, but the main show itself only operates for 4.5 minutes, which is a fairly fast-paced simulation, but it doesn't pass by too quickly as there is a good balance throughout the attraction, and with each cockpit crew member playing their part, which helps to prolong the experience a little, and requires so teamwork. It's a good experience overall, and although the main ride is fairly short, the complete experience is able to make up for any shortfall in the short ride duration with a fairly impressive level of detail throughout the entire attraction. Tower of Terror is also a fairly short attraction in terms of duration. The ride has a fairly slow build-up through the show scenes, before the frantic minute or so in the frightening but thrilling drop shaft. The ride duration falls a little short of Smugglers Run, where it clocks in at just 4 minutes on average ride time. It's a well-balanced 4 minutes though, with a suspenseful build-up to the main thrill part of the ride, which surprisingly makes it feel much longer than just 4 minutes. So, in the 3rd round, so far it's a clean sweep, with the Star Wars ride asserting its dominance with the 3rd points as we move on to the penultimate round. Smugglers Run has been an incredibly popular attraction at Hollywood studios. Along with its sister attraction Rise of the Resistance, it's responsible for a massive increase in footfall to the park since it opened. The attraction is still in its infancy, but is already a commanding presence within the Disney resort, and has managed to have an impressive start as an attraction even after only being open for just over a year. Smugglers Run will surely play a huge role in the park's operations going forward, with the possibility of the ride being updated from time to time with new stories and characters being introduced in the future, providing a longevity to the attraction which should see it at the forefront of the park's attractions for many years to come. Tower of Terror opened several years after Hollywood studios, but is one of the only original attractions left from the park from the early 90s. It's often been seen as a sister attraction to Haunted Mansion at Magic Kingdom, with a similar supernatural theme and intimidating building facade. It's had an impressive run at Hollywood studios, being in operation for 26 years, providing over 2.5 decades of thrills, with tens of millions taking the free-fall plunge. It's remarkable that it's also still one of the most popular attractions in the entire Disney resort, as is regularly at capacity, which is testament to how popular it has been over the last 26 years. So in round 4, the Tower of Terror claims a point back as we move on to round 5. As simulator rides go, Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run offers a bit more interaction than others. As a simulation ride, it does have all the jolts, thrills and spills like many others, but it's not the most intense ride by any means. It offers a good balance of control to the riders, who are in a somewhat reasonable amount of control of the simulator, which makes the experience a bit more realistic to how riders interact with the craft. The overall thrill comes from the full ride experience, which is larger than life, and gives a phenomenal first impression from the life-sized craft and the amazing theme and storyline. It's a wonderful experience which in the end, is exhilarating as an overall attraction, giving an incredible account of life in the world of Star Wars. It's such an entertaining attraction which is one of the best modern-day achievements at any theme park. Tower of Terror offers a truly supernatural experience, in a way that only Disney can produce. With shades of Haunted Mansion, the quirky, yet eerily sinister look of the attraction adds a layer of intrigue before even setting foot inside the giant structure. The ride is as terrifying as it is thrilling, with a powerful free drop, which is completely random, making each ride in the elevator shaft unique, meaning that riders have no idea what type of ride to expect, which raises the thrill factor and the tension levels a few notches. It's such a fun thrill ride, which literally has you hanging onto the edge of your seat. But in round 5, although it's quite a thrilling ride, the overall experience created on Smugglers Run just beats Tower of Terror to the final point of this week's contest. So this week we do have a shocking scoreline, as one attraction claims a dominant victory. Which does mean that the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror ironically drops out of the competition. Tower of Terror is one of the old-style theme park thrill rides, which does a great job at offering a good thrill for riders. It might be a little too intense for younger riders, but it packs a punch for the brief moments it drops. The brief drop segment does make up for a rather tame show throughout the rest of the ride, but it's still a fantastic experience, and a great all-round attraction, that shouldn't be missed when at Hollywood studios. Star Wars Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run advances to the next round. Join us for next week's thrilling encounter between Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts and Navi River Journey. See you next time. We hope you enjoy this video. Please support us by subscribing to our channel. You can find us on social media platforms. Find us on Facebook and Twitter at Orlando Worlds, and on Instagram at the Orlando Worlds. Thanks for watching.